All right, everyone. Graeme will set up this hand momentarily, but look at the hand. What would you open? Graeme, we're not vulnerable. The opponents are. Right? Am I remembering that right? All right. Viewers, leave a comment. What's your opening bid? Okay. If you need to think more, pause it because we're about to zoom out and Graeme will set up this hand for us.
Actually, before you zoom out, you haven't quite given enough information.
Okay.
So what you did was good, but I'm hoping the guys out there in TV land, are saying, "Hang on, you didn't give us enough information." So what we need to know is what the vulnerability is, all the vulnerability is for us and the opposition, and we also know what position we're in, whether we're the dealer, next person, third person, or the last person to bid.
Okay.
All right. So, and you might say, well, it doesn't make any difference. I'm not bidding on that hand. That's a terrible hand. Okay. So, what's happened lately? When I started playing bridge, 30, 40 years ago, nobody was opening that hand. But these days, the modern style is that when people are not vulnerable as the dealer, not vulnerable versus vulnerable, dealer, not vulnerable versus vulnerable, people are going wild and opening on all sorts of hands. And this hand, actually, you can zoom out anytime, Bashir. This hand comes from the final of the New Zealand teams. Just played a few weeks ago in New Zealand. North-South, Mike and Adam, East-West, Ashley Bark and Mike Cornell from New Zealand. And look at that opening bid from North, 3 spades. 3 spades. Wow.
I still can't believe it. I'm staring at it. And I mean, these are top level players. These are sorry, I didn't mean to click on Cornell.
That's the wrong Cornell.
There we go.
So yeah, these are top level players. These are really, really good players. And it's just this position. It's as the dealer, not vulnerable versus vulnerable. Man, you see them opening on 8 points, 9 points at the one level, 10's like a good hand, and these crazy preempts on 6-card suits and weak 2s on 5-card suits. Thing is, the preempts work.
Right. So help us explain, make sense of this bid for us learners. Why are people bidding so crazy when they're in this situation? Dealer, not vulnerable. Opponents are vulnerable. Why would you ever open this?
Well, what will normally happen if you don't open is, what will often happen if you don't open is that the opposition are vulnerable and they're playing teams, which is important. So if the opposition bid to a vulnerable game or a vulnerable slam or a vulnerable grand slam, that's going to be a great score for them. So by preempting as much as possible, then you make it really hard for the opposition to know what to do. You're taking away all their bidding space. And it's risky. But it's as risky as it is to bid. People have discovered, these bridge players have discovered, that it's even more risky to pass and give the opposition the free go at the auction. I mean, East-West, Ashley Bark and Mike Cornell, they're great. They're 2 of New Zealand's best players.
Right.
If you pass and give them the auction all to themselves, they're going to get to the right contract time and time and time again. So, not vulnerable. You just get in there and do something and hope it works. But it's still wild to look at, isn't it?
It's so wild. Now, and then, West and East, they end up both bidding. They end up with the contract. What would have happened? Why don't we show all four hands? What would have happened if Mike Doecke wouldn't have opened like this?
Well, this is a teams game, so there's two tables playing against each other. So you can see at the other table, the contract 5 spades doubled by North down 1. And at this table, it was 5 diamonds doubled by East down 1. So North-South, Mike and Adam actually got a really good score because they chose to defend 5 diamonds. The other North-South pushed on to 5 spades. And now I think it's one thing I really want to stress is that these high-level bidding decisions are difficult. So sometimes you're often going to get them wrong. You're going to get them right and you're going to get them wrong. But the time to get those difficult decisions wrong is when you're not vulnerable and when the opposition is vulnerable. Because you don't
And for us learners, that's probably the most important takeaway. I mean, these are the sorts of things we learners shouldn't try at the local club. But that lesson, that takeaway for us, could you just say it again, just in terms of when to be more competitive, when to be more passive?
Yeah. So actually, vulnerability is a thing that people probably don't really take into consideration enough. And it's something we, in our lessons at LBO, something I'll talk about again and again and again. Vulnerability is extremely important, and it's most important in the competitive auctions. It's that's when you get the chance to be aggressive when you're not vulnerable, when you should be aggressive when you're not vulnerable. So vulnerability, it's important.
Well, Doecke, Kaplan, congratulations, not just on that hand, but the whole tournament. If you guys are watching, let us know. We'd love to hear your thought process. So reach out. Graeme, thank you for sharing that incredible hand and making sense of it for us. We sure have fun in your class. Folks watching, come on by. Everyone's welcome. Graeme really has been sharing some incredible, really fun, sometimes wild stuff with us, and we'd love to have you join us. Thank you all. Thanks, Graeme.
Thanks all. Good night.